Hi everyone, thanks for joining. Thought I'd just take a quick look at these in the sun with you. Kind of show you how that black spot is representing the eye. And when we tilt this silhouette, you can see the color and other markings that are in this, but there should be just a few other silhouettes in here. Just take a look at all the red and the black paint. More than likely it'll be a bird. Probably in this direction here. You can see the way the hook bill and beak is done. And there are also some higher level paintings, perhaps a hawk head on this side. You can see the way the beak is done. And then whenever you tilt it at a stronger angle, we'll probably have a big, like the whole outside image with the black eye right here, with the red painted face you can see. And there'll be just a bird here, it looks like, the right side beak. But then just that little character, that little happy face character there. And there's another little bird, the triangle shaped bird with the recessed beak and the little circle eye. Some cool banding on it. That little circle gray eye that you can see if you look in the details of that. You should be able to see little carvings and little diamonds. Very small symbology. And this one is very cool as well. Kind of look at it like, where's the face? Where's the face? Sometimes they are just as simple as, you know, the big eye, the big mouth here. So you might have a few different ones if you use this as the nose. You can see how this would be the chin line. And then the mouth might be carvings, but then just the whole outside image with this large crack for the mouth. And then different edges and different corners, we'll find more and more. This piece might be a little bit broken up, a few of them are, but just as an example of the color that's on these, it is reflective. And it's really cool. I'll show you a few of them that we found out front there. That just after looking at them for a little while, you start to pick up on the images that are in there, and I'm going to point a few of them out and see if you guys can see them with me. And I know we've seen these a few times, but just as a reminder, they're very simple as this. Simple as these little characters with their just eyes in the mouths, like a little headband. I'm sure you can turn them around in different ways and in different angles to create different faces, but there's different styles, and sometimes they're cartoon shapes, and other times they just have a lot of color in them. You see the purple and the little bands, and as we tilt this, that's supposed to resemble a face. There's a lot of color on this one. It's a very nice one. But we can see how just finger mark carvings, how there's a profile image put into this. We can tilt it just a little bit to look at the paintings that are on here. And it kind of reminds me of the Squirrel Girl in color. It's kind of actually what it is. Wow, I never realized that before. It's the Squirrel Girl, but in color, with the orange, brown tuft, with the circle eye and the button nose. That's why I really like doing these videos with you guys. But lots of color in this. Lots of neat stuff. Wow. A lot more than I thought, just at first. Here we have the beautiful mammoth carving. You can see the trunk coming all the way down. You can see all the pressure flakes and carvings on these. Wow. Whoop, sorry. But we're looking at this carving for this eye right here. See the center of it? See how the nose is poking out at this longest point right here? How the lips could be here perhaps. There's a little paint on the face, that black stripe. How it is just a head with the mammoth here pointing to the left with the big diamond mammoth eye. Look closely where that eye carving is. See the circle for it, and see the big swoop. That is this big mammoth head. Very pretty one. Oh yeah, you can make little painted faces under the corners here. So you see how the nose is kind of long? We can proportion that. That's really nice. Really neat. But they couldn't just make them all just silly faces like this, or else you wouldn't take it seriously. The art gets so complex, right? But let's go take a look at a few more of these clay artifacts here. They get so complex, but they, for some reason on these ones, they just leave these little simple ones here. You can see how the mouth is. I did carve with my thumb just a little bit. It's just pottery, but just to show you this one too. And I have a few more outside that we can take a peek at right now. On this one here, we have the mammoth on the right-hand side. He does have that loose little speck there. We can drop that from his eye. So you can see the way the mammoth head is done. And then on the left-hand side, we do have our banded. See the pupil for the eye? It's got the band across his eyes, kind of like the Birdman. And so this first little profile image that you can see with the perfect little eye coming out, you can tilt this around just a little bit to create other larger images too. Now this little jut coming out over on this side, I can tell whenever we move it and tilt it, the little silhouette and portrait will come out. You see how that weird creepy little face comes out? Then when we look underneath for the details for that eye, you can see how the details are actually there for that. Very cool, right? So we can move this even further. You can see it here, of course, but then as we shrink that nose down and tilt the art to where it's just at its very edge, that perfect silhouette comes out of that human being. And that's the way this art works. It's to be tilted and moved around just like this. So they could create these. That's how they did it. There's a lot to be seen on just this one little piece. We can go really deep on it. But you can see the paintings on the right-hand side there. There's pinks and blacks and whites. Even white. So just on the left-hand side here, you can see how I might have to swap the shadows just a bit there. And then whenever you tilt it at that perfect angle, you can see how the rest of that comes out. Ain't that something? So you might see a larger face or a smaller face. There's a few different ones, believe it or not. So, super neat piece for sure. There truly are so many great ones right here, but I want to kind of focus in on this here, this color. You can see how this giant painted mammoth head is done. You can just see this giant guy. Hopefully, pretty well. Beautiful paint on it. And on the right-hand side, we'll have our human silhouettes again. As we tilt it and move it, you can start to see how the eye carvings are done right above the nose there. There is so much on here. That silver paint is very pretty. I haven't seen that before. You can see that silver paint in there, or gray almost. And just looking at that, you see how there's just a little silhouette with the white eye done above that gray paint. It's a very peculiar piece. That gray paint, of course, does become an eye. Look at that gray color of the sparkle. Wow. And so this is so many things that you guys can see. But in the end, the mammoth on the right. And little humans on the left here in the corners. You can see just like coins. Amazing piece. Very cool. And with the other half here, we can see, which just looking at the longest point is the nose, the large crack for the lips, we can see this kind of cartoonish character, right? But then over at the very top there, we can see inside of the red. If you look into the red, you can see how there's a little gray dot, that little circle there. We can move this around a little bit. You can perhaps see some of the carvings for the beaks of other birds that are maybe on the top of this. But that little gray dot that shows up, I wish I could see my camera just a bit better. You guys will be able to see the paintings. There's just a huge painting of a person. Looks like a woman to me. And it's a little, see the black outline for the eye? That's what these folks did. And it's how they created their art. This is a piece of their art. I think it's super beautiful. So I really appreciate you guys checking out the video today. Remember, we do still have that petition going. So if you're interested in helping out, you can just sign the petition. Doesn't cost anything. And you can remain anonymous, pretty much. Just put your name down there, even what your internet name is, doesn't really much matter. Just one signature per person, please. Do appreciate you guys. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.